Hello, it's Friday. Oh, 4-day weekends, they feel so good. But anyway, back at it again with some more. Oh, sorry, music went off there. Some more stories, some more Games Workshop stories. Um, this one's a bit of a weird one. I had to put this one off for a little while. This was going to be the first video in the series, but I had to speak to a few people to get my facts straight. Mainly because, I know it's just stuff that's happened to me, but I like to make sure that I'm actually giving you, as far as I know, what actually happened. So I had to get back in contact with my old boss, who was a alright dick back then. But he's actually an alright guy. But outside of work, he's a pretty decent dude. So I got back in contact with him, and because he was there at the time, he dealt with this a lot more than I did. And I came in for basically the where the shit hit the fan. Basically, that's when I entered I entered the scenario. So I'm working in Games Workshop at the time. I am not a manager this time. I'm a staff member. So basically, when you come into the store and you will just want to buy that pot of paint, my job is to dry hump you until you buy something. And then if you don't buy anything, I dry hump you out of the store. And that was pretty much my job. And you gotta have that fake smile on all the time that gives you a fucking headache. After a while, your face starts hurting. Literally, I'm on the bus home and my face is aching with the fake smile you have to do all day. So, we do beginners night on a Thursday night in our Games Workshop store. We did beginners night on a Thursday night where the kids from school would come in, and these kids would range anywhere from 5 all the way up to about 16, 17. And we had a few uni kids who'd come in, because there's a few kids who literally couldn't get a game unless it was on a Thursday night. So they came in and they played one of... If our manager wasn't there, then the older kids would play me and the other guy who was working there. But if manager was there, then they just had to play each other. So the best nights were when the manager wasn't there. But thankfully, one time, I'm very glad he was there, but we'll get into that. So there was a guy, we're going to call him Dave. We're going to call him Dave. And Dave was around 40, 42, 43, something like that. And, he and again, if you like My Little Pony, don't think I'm having a go at you, please. But he wore a lot of My Little Pony stuff, which I thought was really weird, because I'd never seen that before, right? And quite old-fashioned. I'd never seen that before. I was like, okay, that's a bit weird. He said, no, it's like My Little Pony. And do you know what? We're in Games Workshop. I'm like, do you know what? We all like weird shit, that's fine. And he was in the store, and he decided to start coming on Thursdays. And so he started playing games with everybody, me, the kids, and all that sort of thing. If you know where this story's going, by the way, give yourself a pat on the back if you're right, because you probably are. So Dave starts turning up to our beginners night, and Dave has let me paint the picture. So he has like he has a balding head. Bit of a ponytail. He has glasses. Obviously, he wears his t-shirt, wears shorts and trainers. He basically dresses a lot younger than what he is, basically, essentially. But it seems like a nice guy. Bit weird, but you're going to Games Workshop. You're all fucking weirdos, to be honest with you. When you're walking into Games Workshop, there's not one person who walks in who isn't a weirdo, in one way, shape, or form, including me, by the way. So he's in there and he's chilling out and things like that. And the mums come and pick their kids up at the end of the night. And not one of them will talk to this guy. It's really strange. Not one of them even wants to get on board and have a word. He's one of the only other adults there, apart from me and the staff and the manager when he is there. Anyway, one night, right, there is a kid that we're going to call Simon, right, and he's in the store. And he's playing. He's being very, very quiet. And I go over to Simon and I say, how's it going? You okay? And because the thing is, as a Games Workshop store person, we're not teachers. I'm a teacher now, right? So it's my responsibility to find out if kids are okay. I've just had that situation today where there was somebody in my class who made a weird comment, and I had to keep them behind and say, hey, is everything okay at home? That kind of thing. And I basically said, hey, how's it going? Is everything okay? And he said, yeah, it's just, just feeling a bit weird about being here, that's all. It's okay, right, okay. Is there any reason why? Has anyone said anything to you, thinking you're the kids, you know? Again, you know where this is going. And he says, no, it's no one, I just feel a bit weird, that's all. I said, okay, do you want me to call your mum? Yeah. So I called his mum, his mum came and got him. And took him home, essentially. Anyway, Dave turns up, rocks up, you know, comes and has a game. And my manager, who was there that night, he opened we had our store, and there was a back door in the center of the first, you know, of the store. There's a back door at the back, back door at the back, obviously, back door at the back. But it doesn't lead to the outside. It leads to like a corridor because we were in a shopping precinct, where all the shops have their back lot, but it's indoors. But then there's stairs going up on the right hand side, and it takes you up to our storeroom with tons of models in it. It's fucking brilliant. It's really cool. So anyway, my manager opens the door, looks at me, and does the come hither motion with a serious face with his finger. You know, like, get here now. And I'm like, okay. So I go over, and he says, I've had a phone call. A very serious complaint has been made against Dave. And I said, okay, fine. He said, I need to get him upstairs into the storeroom. I've already called the police. He can't leave. He can't leave the store. And I was like, right, okay. He said, so you've got to come down. Basically, you've got to come with me, and we'll get him upstairs. You know, we'll say we've got to do something with him. You know, give him like a model or something. I don't know. But then we'll need to keep him there. I was like, okay, fine. So the other guy who's working there, we call him James, the store worker. He'd actually been there longer than me, but he wasn't as big as me. So he said, no, I'll stay down here. I'll mind the fort. You know, I'll look after the kids, you guys, you know. And so I said, you know, I'm God bless the manager, by the way. Because I said, Joe, do you want me to speak to Dave and get him upstairs, or are you going to do it? He said, no, I'll do it. You go upstairs. Okay. I don't know how he did it to this day. And I, even when I asked him about it, he couldn't even remember. He was like, I don't know. I just went over to him and said, hey, I just turned on the charm. Every ounce of Games Workshop charm that I had, I used. I said, hey, do you want to come upstairs and help me, you know, spray some models? You're the only other adult here, apart from this guy, and this guy needs to watch all the games. You know? And he was like, yeah. And that's all he can tell me about the conversation, because Dave came upstairs with him. And it was sort of like, it really felt like, you know, Goodfellas, you know, when that guy gets whacked. He walks into the room and he gets whacked, you know, look at that. So he opened the storeroom door, and he walks in, and I turn around, and I'm pissed. I'm fucking annoyed, because obviously, you know, I think this guy's been doing really weird shit with kids. So my manager closes the door and locks it. Says, listen, Dave, we've had a very serious phone call, and I shit you not, Dave's face dropped, right? And I was expecting to see fear or anger or desperation or something. Do you know what I saw? I saw relief. He looked relieved that he'd been caught. How weird is that? He looked completely relieved. And, you know, my manager said, look, we're going to keep you here. You can't leave. We're going to keep you here. The police are on their way. They're going to take you out the back way, like downstairs, and, you know, you're going to have to answer some questions. Anyway, the police arrived, very professional. They knocked on the door. It opened up. But Dave, the entire time, had just been sitting down, crying, but also, like, saying things like, thank God. Thank God. And I was just like, what's going on? He said to us that he'd never touched a kid. Not once. But he was weeks away from snapping. Like, he was literally, he couldn't stay away from them, and he was very close to snapping and actually, you know, going after one of these kids. And he was relieved that somebody else had taken the decision out of his hands by giving him over to the police. Because he's obviously made comments to kids, you know, maybe he shared a few pictures around, things like that, you know, but he's not actually done anything overt yet. And, you know, so the police took him away. You know, it was very harrowing day at Games Workshop. Police took him away, and, you know, we came downstairs, said to James, hey, you know, thanks for minding the store, and he was like, what happened? I said, well, the police have got hold of him now. We never saw Dave again. Not once. Never saw him again in the store, and even if we did, he was obviously barred for life. and we gave his description out to all the other Games Workshops in the local area and even beyond, saying this guy's not allowed in anywhere near our stores, especially if you see him on a beginner's night. Call the police. Don't even approach him. Just call the police. And that was the only time it happened to me. But to the manager I was working for, who'd been at Games Workshop for about 20, 25 years, it happened to him about 6 or 7 times. This is his 6th or 7th time dealing with shit like that in Games Workshop. So it does happen. You know, so when people say it doesn't happen, it definitely does happen. It is considered a grooming ground. It is a high-risk environment. The police class Games Workshop as a high-risk environment because you have kids integrating in with adults playing a game. That is what it is. But I think Games Workshop do, for all the shit I give them, I think they do a fucking amazing job of keeping weirdos like that in check. Because the amount of early warning signs that managers pick up on that I know of in Games Workshop is insane. Like the Jedi perception that they have, just to sense shit going on, where they're not happy and they pull somebody aside and say, "Get the fuck out," or explain what you just did there, or get the fuck out. Essentially, do you know what I mean? It's incredible. So hats off to them. That's my story for the day. That's my Games Workshop story for the day. Have you ever been in a Games Workshop or anything like that, like your local gaming store, or hobby store, or anything, a tournament where you've seen weird shit going down? Put it in the comments. But that's my story about Dave. Happy weekend. See you next time.